Well, hello again friends, and welcome to, I'd like to say another Prefect 99 live stream, but it's been a while. Welcome to a nice Sunday stream at Stansted, Virtual Ryanair Extra Points. And we are off to the Virtual Ryanair's Focus Airport of Belfast. It's looking pretty quiet on VATSIM, sadly. There was one XL Airways departure that's just left Stansted, and so we're the only ones on the tarmac here. If you are watching, please say hi in chat, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you want to get some more content. Like I say, I can't promise that we're not going to have any crash to desktop type issues. I haven't done a UK trip yet, so this is a bit of a guinea pig trip, so apologies in advance if that already happens, but hopefully at least the startup setup and everything is useful. Here we are with release candidate 3 running Vulkan, and it's not looking too bad. I'll just get the frame rate up on screen. That's not too bad. Externally you can see the GPU really isn't being taxed. And as you can see, X-Plane is pretty CPU bound, so I might bring that up every now and then just to see how we're getting on. Give us a shout if it's distracting or you don't like it too much. It does spoil the immersion a little. Let me just get rid of the branding down there. I need to get some branding of my own. And let's jump into the jet. So here we are, stand 4-2 at London Stansted. A stand I quite like. It's nice and quick and easy to get to the threshold. Of course, assuming 22's in use. Have a look at the weather and everything else. So here we are, cold and dark. Now, we don't have to worry about fuel because we're not flying with FSE, so it's not we don't have to fuel it and then defuel it. So it's just a case of setting the payload. So I'm going to do that, break with tradition and do that first. There is the OFP, and as always I've got a printed copy on my desk that I can scribble all over. Really, really useful to have at least a pen and paper when you're flying online. I'm sure I've mentioned that before. So we can see here this, I generate a little Excel sheet to do that. Payload variability, we'll see if there's much of a difference. So what we are going to do, we can pop in 110 packs, 0p, that will distribute them. You can move them depending on, because I think the first 2 rows would be empty. I forget what the quick way to do it on the load sheet is. I think because you don't want essentially you don't want them too far forward, although I believe the center, the forward cargo hold is the preference. So let's put 2.1 in there. See where we end up. Wow. It puts it forward, doesn't it? So how's that? It's still not great. Okay. All of the cargo in the hold. A little bit aft. Never mind. We'll see how we get on. It's certainly within the. I mean, all of those were within the allowable range, but a rear CFG is preferred for efficiency. And you can look up all the reasons for that online. That gives us a 0 fuel weight right now, 53.9. Bang on, that'll do us. And that's because I've got SimBrief weights matching with Zibo weights, especially around the packs weights, which sorts that problem out. Anyone that's got issues around there, probably because of that. Let's have a look at our fuel. I'll call the fuel truck in a moment. What I am going to do is start smart cars at 1320. Which we need a minimum of 20 minutes, so 41 guest. Block fuel, you can see I've got an additional 15 minutes, and that may become a little bit clearer as we get to our destination, certainly if there's no ATC online. Let's refresh the map, and I can't see anything. There were some issues with Xpilot and my plan not loading. That's fine. Good. So 610, we've got 3756 on board. Let's see how much we get. I'm not going to call that just yet. Smart card is running, so I can tick that off my list. projectFLY is running well. Active Sky is giving us reasonable weather by the looks of things, so there's that. Everything else is good, so let's get on to the overhead. Lights are set to steady. Battery emergency. Scan of it. We've got ground power, which is great. Let's get the RSs aligning. Minutes because of our latitude. There they go. Of course, you can set the radio panel up here if you want. That's the selectors for the jump seat. Like I always say, do the stall warning test, flight recorder test, etc. But I don't. Probably should. But this is enough to get you going. Pop the yaw damper on. Check the crossfeed. Open, right, dim, low, right, off. If you have any display issues, make sure all of those are set to normal, so they can see issues. I'm sure we've seen that before. All the pumps are off. Prior to starting the APU, one of those AC pumps in tank 1, you can make between them go on. Lights are all off. It's clearly off here. Engine buses are off. The ground power is on. VGs are off. Cabin util on. Still not sure if the voltmeter is completely correctly modelled, so you can check these. But it doesn't matter. In the older series, in the classics, you would want to check the ground power for frequency and voltage for the quality. But on the NGs, it won't illuminate unless the power is suitable for the aeroplane, which is clever. Panel lights we can pop on. Bling. Those can all stay off. We are going to be filling. Start switches auto. Igniters right. Diff pressure is 0. L1 door. Cargoes are open. Oops. Can go on. Can test the window heats. Pop them all on. Stay on for the entire flight. Trim air. Set the air conditioning up as you like. Max can go on, and we'd have conditioned air in reality, so the cabin would start warming up or cooling down. 18's pretty reasonable. Horrific outside will leave the bleed off. Our cruise today, Eagle Eyed amongst you, was 380. Because we are quite light, only 110 packs. And Belfast is 270, which is closer to 250. This is 30 away. Talking about 18 away. 32. So that's the overhead set and done. That is an odd number. So let's go ahead and go. Panels turned up so we can see them. still need to read that shadow thing. Really irritating. Now I am going to tune back to Unicom, and if anybody does call up, I'm going to test these. I don't know if you remember last time I said that these, I thought these were modelled. They are. I don't know if it was an X-Pilot issue that they didn't work. One thing that doesn't work is if you turn it off, volume will be on automatically, which I find is weird. Just shouldn't be able to turn it off. So if I turn off RX there, X-Pilot's really good because it shows you what you're receiving. So I'm still receiving on COM1 because I'm transmitting on it. If I switch over TXRX this side, these are both off. So this is independent, so we'll go off. So those work. A little bit about radios. So brake, LTO test, disarm. See the fuel is increasing and kilos of course because we're in Europe. The display's looking, I think there's been some magic trickery that's gone on to sort these out. Okay, alright. The engine start view. Anyway, let's get the funky music on. Setting up. Now, mate. There is no ATIS, no ATC online, so can do. Get the ATIS and then I'll compare it with Google VATSIM. Oh. Hopefully it only takes seconds. Now, how do I say that? MJSTC. Hello. I think you're Omar, if I remember correctly. Middle of your first flight on VATSIM. Good. Good for you. Big steep learning curve, but very rewarding once you get the hang of it. But I hope that little video yesterday helped you out. So, 1250 Zulu. Oh dear. It's pretty old. Now what is VATSIM giving us? Because of course that's what other people are going to be using, but I'm on Active Sky, so Active Sky is what actually, you know, different potential sources of weather. 1320 is, I've been in Sky now. 1320 is VATSIM sort of running, so I'm not sure where Zibo gets his weather from. At least 30 minutes old. Maybe, I think this is, I don't know. I know VATSIM was being slow to update, and I'm just checking Google. Phone. London Stansted. It was to go. Well, 50 Zulu. Interesting. Now I've got. Wonder if that just hasn't permeated. It gets his internet. Don't know what's going on. So what I am going to do is I'm going to scroll down the 1320 because that's going to update at some point. That is, let's write it down, which is why I'm sort of pausing at the same time. It's an automatic report. It's 2706. Variable between 240 and 320. No, 30. 10 clay visibility. Now that's very different. No cloud detected versus overcast at 4.5. ET dew point of 0.8. H1020, at least those two are correct. So, back onto the FMs, clear that message, set 1020, yeah. They are both good. Just finished fueling, so go on. 620. Scribble this down all over the place. Quite a few pages. Certainly helps with the fuel burn. It's going to be a very short cruise today, but I have got all the pages for it. Not that we're necessarily going to need them. So we finish fueling. Can. One of the seatbelts on. Nav data is correct. September the 9th, yes, next week. At Stansted. Stand 42. GPS left into the IRS position. Ding. There it goes. AMP starts coming down. To Alpha. Get out my patented call sign, just so we don't get any similarity. Well, we do get similarity issues, but at least we don't get people. That's happened a couple of times. Excruciating. And I am load up. Exported plan. Check that. So UTAVA, X75, BUZAD, Evo 20, Trent. Mike 65, TENSO, Lima 602, MASOP, NELBO, number 6 to the Belfast VOR, N, direct to the runway. So we've got 15 minutes extra fuel, and depending on who's watching, and maybe if we get a little vote going on, there's a couple of ways we can go into Belfast. Start off with a hold for the procedure, which we might do if there's anyone about. We'll do it anyway, versus the direct arrival. So I might try a little bit of hand flying, but I am so rusty, and I was going to do some VFR flying and some circuits today. Just didn't get around to it, so could try that, but it could be embarrassing. But anyway, that's our route. We've checked it. Gross error check, giving us our distance here of 303, page 1. Yeah, that's not far off, because don't forget we haven't got any SIDS or stars in. So, gross error check for that. Activate, execute. Now, tick, entered. Zero fuel weight, 53.9. We did check that, and it did match. So if it didn't auto-populate, then we could type that in. Again, you can get that from the load sheet. So fuel, planned fuel. This is handy about the Ryanair. So it's still the wrong way. It's just the human factors in me that says that. We're probably not going to use all our taxi fuel, so I'm happy to call 0.7 our plan, which is clearly less. 0.6. Estimated on arrival. That's because we've still got required information. There's 2.1, 2.3 gives us our reserves. Cost index of 6 for Ryanair. Cruise, go. Populated, and it populated it pretty quickly. Been having insufficient fuel and reserve fuel issues. We'll see if we get any of those. I think it's just when it recalculates it. Insufficient fuel is when that fuel is 0, using reserve is when that is less than the reserve. So you can manipulate it using the reserves, but remember that's a message that is useful for you to know whether you haven't landed by that point. So, cruise wind, top of climb 352. 6-7, so we've got a bit of a headwind. It's a deviation, +5. Altitude is 6,000. Takeoff in a ATC online. Time. I suppose we're not short on time. I have got all the charts queued up. Queued up. Only on my pad. There is no noise abatement. Stansted per se. There's noise abatement tracks, but there's no abatement departure procedure specified. So until the performance takeoff is modelled and works, you can try it. No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. I use AppSoft Airplane Toolbox. You can sim brief straight from that, and it does figures, which is useful. Looks good. Okay, so Noah picking up same E. And I think our planned takeoff weight is 59.3. Our taxi fuel is 70. Happy to add another. Well, I mean, it's not going to be 20 kilos, but maybe 100. So, a 5,970. Got the wind. Got the full length of 22, and that is giving us dry runway. Flap 5 takeoff. 22k. Assume temp of +4. Speeds on. It's giving a stop margin quite a lot actually from the D rate, so I'm not quite sure it's so low. Anyway, that's given us a 2091 takeoff run. 58 V1 of 133. Rotate 140. As we said, 22k. 34 assumed temp. That's probably useful on this departure. We are going to stick to the SID if there's no ATC online, so that will reduce power by quite a bit actually. It's like a 20%, and then so you can get another 20% out. You can have quite a spectacular thrust reduction, so that will help with the initial climb, but it is slightly inefficient. So top of the SID, I may swap that back. See if I remember. So, like I said, flap 5 with 2.5 trim. Certainly there. 3.3, 1.34. So they're within one. We'll accept those. That could just be because I'm binned in, but particularly matter. 1,000 reduction. So between 3 and 5 DME from Barkway on this SID. relatively high acceleration, smooth it out a bit. Does that will work? The MFRA is 1400. Three is the runway heading. The departure stop out is 4,000 cleared. Need localizer 1105. Both. So runway heading, then going to be 350 inbound. It's 263 outbound now. I am happy to set that. We're only using the DME. So use Parkway. Okay, so both of those on available, standby set. Using that DME, and of course we'll get the nav strike through, which is fine. Flight director will go on my side at this point. And we are starting to get pretty much ready. So securing the airplane at all. APU starting. So done with the takeoff. It's minimising that on the second monitor that I've got, which is again useful for certainly for streaming and having Xpilot on it. There is still no controller online. So we're going to be squawking 2000. Whether, oh, that looks a bit. Okay, the font on the upper one is a bit different. Looks a little inconsistent. But hey, whatever. There's the APU starting and stabilising. Wait a minute. I'm just going to get that on. And the APU bleed on. Shut the door. Get the tug on its way.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
That is pretty much what we're going to do.
Ground to cockpit.
I'm just going to
Tow
connect
is driving
first.
up.
There's the tug driving through the terminal. So volume's on, we're on Unicom, we've got the navigator tune for departure. Self-clearing ourselves.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So as you've seen, I think I can get a bit slicker the timing. Anything else? I'm one thing we haven't done is departure. For forgetting stuff. Talk about the arrival. MSA is 2,100 initially in this sector from runway 2000. So we've lost best beam of the field. You need to step through those 70, yeah. But we need above 3,000. You can see the stop out thing because we have no ATC. Make those restrictions, and I'll try and take the D rate off of climb. A little bit efficient. Counterintuitively. That's the traffic Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Push and start, stand 4-2. So, self-cleared.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
So, self-cleared. Out off. Oh, they might want out on. Forget, because clever ground radars. Come on. Want to sit down. Anti-collision can come off. Can come on. Wait for the door. So there is the door secure. You can run through the checks. You should run through the checks. Or start. 1348. Break off.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Start the FO's clock. 2800. 0.
Calling from EVGA to readable day 5.
No matter. I had a look to make sure nobody was here, but it looks like there was. Ryanair will leave their engine start quite late. The idea being that you're starting engine number 1 as the tow is disconnecting to minimise fuel burn. So we'll try and replicate that. I might be a bit late. Max off. Start switch engine number 2. Just registering N2. 25% fuel goes in. Guard your hand over the lever just in case the EGT goes through the roof. In case you can shut the engine down.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Set.
Disconnecting tow, stand by.
Rudder cut out, and there's engine number 2 stabilising. Start engine number 1. I've got that mapped to a couple of switches on the throttle. To a key as oil pressure watching the N2 on. Goes in the engine. EGT starts going pretty
Tow is
quickly.
disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Stars are cut out. Valve shut. And then one stabilising. Timed that quite well actually. 2, 4, 6 and 3. 2 stable engines. Just in time to see the pin, which we have seen. So, to start or before taxi flow, whichever way you look at it. That's not required. Seen the pin. 5. I don't think the real crews use this, they blank the lower DU. As happened before in this sim, certainly that control restriction. Run off the end of the runway here. So full forward, full aft, left, full right. Trim, set, checked. And the taxi checklists. Generators on, no lights. APU not required and off. Start switches continuous. Anti-ice probes on. Anti-ice is not required. Temperature is 18. No visible moisture anyway. Air conditioning, PAX auto is on. Isolation valve, so lap 5 required. 5 set, green light. Stab trim, 525 required. 525 set. Start levers to idle detent. The controls checked, checked. Therefore ready to taxi. That's the traffic. Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray taxiing Old Sierra 1 runway 22 via Charlie Sierra. So we have self-cleared. To the left. Clear to the right. Brakes off. Configs checked. Go. London South is online, but cover us. I don't think. Get them queued up just in case. Got a hardware radio panel, which makes that a lot easier. So, for departure, all armed. Nav, LNAV, both armed, not active. Can pop the radar on. Done some nice work here on the markings. Benefit the method of community airports gets brought to this sim, the level of detail that you cabin secure.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
So we are ready to go, just about 5 minutes early. That's the traffic runner 7 Delta X-ray lining up, taking off runway 22, UTAVA 1 Romeo departure. Have announced, nobody has said they're on final. Lights, done the camera. Lap 5, 5 green light, 525. 525, recalls checked. Off we go. It's probably 1356. Get rid of that wall.
Approaching
light.
2-2.
1356, 2770, 2780. Percent engines are stable.
On runway 22.
Correct runway, correct heading, forward pressure, power. Toga. Time. Quite a lot of left rudder required there to keep the airplane straight. Knots. Release the forward pressure on the controls.
V1 rotate.
And off the throttle. Ease the airplane up to about 15 degrees.
Positive rate.
Gear up. LNAV. She's pretty light, so she's climbing like a rocket. So
1000.
thrust reduction. Command A. Get the retracts up, save some fuel. Picking up the back course here, but we're looking for the DME, and it's 3.1 India Sierra X-ray. Ortho's looking good. We are going to level off at 4,000 very, very early. Plane's bugged up. Accelerating. Flap 1. Capture, passing flap 1, flap up. This would be very busy, done by hand. Our turn was a little bit late. Passing flap up, flaps up, no lights, all the rigs off. Gear up and off. Not switches, go to auto, we'll let the crew go in a moment. The aeroplane is pressurising, at least the diff pressure is. Switch. So there is no speed restriction on this turn. You can see we've gone very wide. So a little bit of speed into them might be useful there. Bit of an overcorrection. Are we going LNAV? All over the place is the answer. So we could definitely do better with the automation there, certainly in future. Let the crew out. We have got another turn. Give us something like an intermediate 150. Still in VNAV path, so the airplane should climb automatically. Going to move that climb restriction. And there you go. The OR is on that airfield there. What airfield is that? I'm gonna have to look that up. Outside action. Lots of sadly disused airfields all over this lovely country. Loading frame-wise, pretty good. I mean, admittedly there is no weather, but GPU is not working very hard at all. So what we don't get given in the UK very often is climb via SID. In which case, you know, climb via SID, fly level 150, retain this restriction, because you'd expect an unrestricted climb. So, seeing as we are online, I mean, I know there's no traffic about. Certainly not a lot of traffic about having a look on the VATSIM map. And there is the aeroplane being at speed, pitching, until aggressively. Perhaps not too aggressively, the throttle was aggressive. Climbing to a flight level, set standard at the point you are cleared. You only then have to worry about changing if you're below transition and have to hit out hold. It's the airplane going up like a rocket. You can see Luton over here. Keeps us clear of their departures. We are up to passing flight level 100, first 10 check. Plane's accelerating. Diff is 4.3. Cabin climbing steadily at 1500. 3/8 set. Let's give ourselves our cruise. There's no one to stop us. Traffic is also light. So cruise set once, twice, 3 times. Not bumpy, let's let the punters out. Good. So there's a little bit of weather somewhere. So we were 4 minutes early. Always going to be a bit late there. Those looking a bit less than perfect, which is a shame. Ooh, getting those stutters again. But you know what? I think actually the quality of the orthos, dare I say, is better than FS 2020. That over there is Silverstone. Lots of disused airfields, like I say. So 200. This creeping up to 7, still climbing steadily. We're still getting awful stutters over the UK. I think I've tried it with and without Ortho, without certain scenery, and it's still just killing it. I've got no idea why. It's better in Vulkan, but it's still pretty bad. Chris seems to think it's a memory leak of some kind. See, the CPU is getting hammered. Boots you off VATSIM. So we'll stay offline for a little bit. Which is a shame. It's just unusable. So I've taken off the Aerosoft scenery for Manchester and for Dublin, which were sort of frame hogs. I've tried disabling everything before. Still get the issues. Less than ideal. Anyway, well in at 09. So we've lost 3 minutes. I don't know if that's having an impact on stutters, having an impact on that. If anyone's got any bright ideas, I'm pretty much all ears at this point. The weather isn't terrible. It does need some work, especially the clouds. This is active sky with performance clouds. Guess it's not them causing the issues. They don't look terrible, but it does need some work in the HDR and volumetric department. If the engine that runs the aerodynamics could be applied, I suppose it would just be too vast for the entire world. But I suppose not necessarily, depending on the number of cores, if it could be optimized for multi-core. But if the weather equations are relatively simple, so if you could have live weather being injected maybe every 15 minutes, based on those conditions, the weather changes realistically, then yes, it might go slightly chaotic depending on the precision used, which is why forecasts can be so variable. But if you could use that, then you'd only have to update it every 15 minutes, and then the weather would behave pretty naturally, I think. But I just wonder if that's an impossible computational task. I say though, ample amounts of multi-core about, sat being unused. Anyway, are going to Trent so we can tune that one on 5-0. And then Belfast is 17.2. You're not picking up Trent. Really? If it's only 5-7, did I get that wrong? Don't have to tune them, but go. Back on VATSIM. Amsterdam's lighting up. Gatwick's open. East Midlands approach, London south. Ground at Edinburgh, Glasgow, Schiphol. Busy. Just not where we're going. So Speedbird left of us is off to Dublin. Down there, don't worry. Just trying to figure out where we are. Recognise those for some reason.
Manchester traffic, in Shellex, 74 Alpha, 737 for runway 23 right. You're about 36 nautical miles inbound.
What's that down there? Fly into.
1,000 to go.
Tatton Hill. Could be. Zoom in to look. Oh, didn't like that. The runway with a pan at the end. Yeah. It's reasonable, doesn't it? There's somewhere to go to in the near future. There we are, levelling off, 3.8, top of climb. 19 minutes in. Minute late, 14. 16, so 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Actually 1 minute slow on the climb, of course, because we did have that big old level segment. So then we've got the arrivals inbound, so let's just have a look at the legs and let's have a look at the charts. Arrival 1 for approach or minus Zulu 25, we're not doing Cat 1. We'll check the weather. See those, so we are off to REMSI, MASOP 5, direct NELBO, and then direct to the EOR. As we could tune the NDB 332. Available on both. And of course we could do that direct arrival and an arc. That would be quite nice to see. The airplane flies it, draws it quite well. I thought actually it'd be quite nice to come in and go once around the hold, outbound, and then procedural approach in. And if anybody is watching, feel free to give your opinion on what you'd prefer. It's frame rate. Death. Yeah, there we go, disconnected again. Great. So to set up for that procedural approach, I'm just going to get, oh, I can't get the weather, that's it, can I? Get the weather off my phone. If you just Google METAR and then the ICAO, you'll get a METAR at least. 30 minutes ago, 1350. 310 at 6. 270, 340. 10k scattered at 4000. Temperature 160.1021. Ryanair's SOP, you should set the expected QNH. Hello, where we go? Full top climb, so busted that, naughty me. There is only one of me. So we've got that set. So that is favouring, even at, what was the variable, 340, let me write this down. Pete. Page to scribble down the arrival weather and any notes you've got, so it's quite useful. 1350. We're at 6. Airborne 270340, 10k. Scattered at 4000. 60. 21. So, that in mind. Still 40 degrees off 35, and that's the very short runway, so we can't use that. Have a look at those. Yeah. I suppose 6,000 feet. Maybe if you really needed to. But when you've got 9,000 feet, we'll take that in the crosswind. But of course, if you are in a Warrior or a 152 or something equally dinky, then you'd probably prefer 3.5. Although if it's swinging anywhere between here, so it was 340, the 310, it's still 40 degrees off there, so there's still a fair amount of crosswind. Anyway, Zulu 25. Now, which one is it going to be? I think counterintuitively it's the other way. So you have to check A and B, C and D. One of those is Bell 1, one is Bell 2. Transition, but it isn't. 054 is what we want to see, so yep. Counterintuitively that is 1. Whatever. That's it. So, to arrive, above MSA, which 4,000 gives us, so we could enter the hold at 5 and descend, for instance. So, why don't we do that? If I have 2 left, 1 minute legs. Yes, because there is no distance. Ah, that might be the best approach hold. It is, so put another hold in. Now, yeah, that'll pick it up because we pick this one. L10, yeah, so let's hold there. Zero 52 left, went 0, above 2, 200, fine. I'm going to want a bit less than that. Set, enter the hold, and then out, hold left. I'll make that hard altitude. What about descent forecast in? We've already said it's 1021. And the descent from the OFP is 343, 78, 338, 51, 331, 26. Transition level is not 6,000. The transition altitude is 6,000 with 1021, and that's going to give us 070. Go. Is that done? TD's actually moved a little bit further away, which is VATSIM. $1,050 is the weather that we'll get from VATSIM as well. Cork Towers on, Gatwick Heathrow, Gatwick approach. We're pretty much going straight over Blackpool. Let's have a look outside. That's a lot of drift. At least 10 degrees, isn't it? So, still nothing. Now Stansted has come alive. Never mind. So, it's a procedural entry for the ILS. So, 1099. 2, yes. The order VRYR, so we can set this up like this. 248. Of course, 052 followed by 054. Outbound. VRYR and DME required, yes we have. For localizer only approach without DME radar required, so we can fly this procedurally. Cat 1 minimum is 468. Could of course fly the localizer only with DME 680 without 760. Far too much like hard work though. And then for India Alpha Golf. That's pretty much it. So bearing in mind nobody's online, I'm having to set 100. See the Isle of Man out here, see it in the distance. And we can start thinking about fuel. So quite sure how accurate that is, taking into account the hold. So if we think we're going to burn 0.7 till arrival, going to take that off of here, it gives us 56.8. Performance landing 425 should really be set to 30 by standard. The wind is 3106. We don't take into account anything, any of the variability. 021. So tip 6. Said 56.8 estimated. What do I see? Anti-ice on all brake settings. Speed brake auto, no credit for the reversers. Add 5. There we go, we can go all the way to the end. So, let's take to brake 2. Should be 138, which it is. Double tap, in it goes. 099. 09. 248, 248. That's us set up. Of course, we've got ample time if we're entering the hold. I think we'll just do 1 lap. 1 lap around the hold. Then, to actually step through these, just to check the profile. Because actually, I suppose we could be above 4. But in realistic terms, 2.5 above, yes, I suppose it is, because that's the platform. You don't have to level off. So 6.8. So 6.8 and then 2.6. That's the 9.4, so we are levelling along that platform. Could do. Some of that. Just so we got that continuous descent. See how VNAV does it. Well, the runway in, we think it's going to be VMC. There's our 5 and 10 mile rings. The MSAs are based on the Belfast VOR. Three and a half, you can put all those sectors in, well, you can't. Just because of run out, but 25 nautical miles, whichever sector you're in. Aligned. Good to have that reference though. So, order brake set. So is our refs. Now I'm going to just start the gentle descent slightly early. Out into vent will give us 1,000 feet a minute before we then intercept that path. Should make it a little bit smoother. Maybe it won't. Diff pressure was quite high, but pretty stable. That was one thing I did do, was the last 10 check. Whoops. Like I say, these aren't tutorials. It's just me hoofing the airplane around the sky. Drag required? Ah, yes. So we are inbound MASOP on F5, RMP2, AMP 0.04. Hello X3, nice to see you, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy vRYR as much as I do. Some of the smaller airports are quite good fun. But like I've said a couple of times, I think on the forums and a few other places, they're a good virtual airline just because of the ops manual they give you. So if you've got questions about how to fly certain types of non-precision approaches, then they've got some pretty good guidance, which really does help because it's not just about flying the aeroplane, it's about those SOPs as well if you really want to try and simulate the operation, which is quite difficult to do single crewed, but maybe that'll get better in future. So, we are pretty much inbound to the briefing strip. 1099 India Alpha Golf is our ILS 1099. Active left, standby right. Feel the frame rate's chugging along there. 248 sets, and it's not going to be set the other side because single crewed. The glide slope checkpoint is at 1690, at which point we should be overhead the Aldergrove NDB. Check the height first rather than doing it the other way around. And our Cat 1 minimum is 468 set. Missed approach is continuous climb 3000, initially straight ahead to 2.5, then turn right to the VOR to hold at 3. The ILS DME reads 0 at 25 threshold, procedure max 210, and that was reflected in the legs. Oh, we are going down like a stone. Just like the frame rate, great. Yeah, and that was just me reading over the top there. Yeah, I'm going to have to start removing some plugins. Okay, it's now 1420 on the ETAR. 0 at 7, no difference really, 290. 360, so the wind's veering, still 10k. Clouds dropped, scattered 036. Broken at 4. Broken or overcast gives you the ceiling, so 4,400 into hours. 1710 Q1021, still good. Yeah, I think you're right there, X3. VRYR are very good with docs and stuff. It's hard to sort of say, this VA is better than yours, but do have a little bit more going for them. So yeah, it's quite good. And good, I'm glad Vulkan's working out for you. It certainly seems to be working for me, but these dips over the UK don't appear to get them over the US, and I've got Ortho there. Okay, the overlays are different, but I don't think X-Europe is really killing it that bad. Disabled it and tried, so... But yeah, it's a big old difference. And hey, with Big Navi and NVIDIA's 3060s coming out, we are going to see a real uptick. Quite interested to see what Zen 3 brings from AMD. Cusp of switching. It was a very close call when I got the i5 8400 that I run at the moment. Very, very close to going for AMD, and I probably should have, to be fair. But it just edged ahead in the gaming benchmarks, and I do more gaming than productivity, so makes a difference there. But you never know, I might bite that red pill. Next CPU, just got to figure out. I'm an ITX guy, and I want to get some decent cooling. Get a decent ITX case. Quite a few look quite nice, but I want to consider liquid as well, so having a radiator bottom mounted, the reservoir lower than the CPU is a terrible idea. A front mounted rad is perfectly fine, so you get any air at the top of the system. But yeah, that's going to be my next life stressor, figuring out what to do PC wise. Hopefully AMD can get Big Heavy out relatively soon. If they leave it too long, they're really going to miss the boat. Yeah, it makes a big difference. I mean, the thing is, 6-year-old hardware, it's not terrible because the advances just haven't been there. You know, years ago, you'd have to upgrade every 2 years just to be able to keep up with new titles. But actually, the 6-year-old stuff is comparable with some mid-range stuff now. So I can't really give examples. I'm sure there are people that know hardware better than me, but you know, my old PC, which I sold, is still running, and I think that's like a 4690K with a 970, and you know, that still runs. So yeah, like you say, the only real issue is memory DDR3 if you're on one of those old boards, or the fundamental reason I upgraded was an M2 SSD, which was being bottlenecked by the motherboard. So that was what sort of enticed me, but I think it would still be relatively playable, and you can certainly argue that in X-Plane, even with Vulkan, in some cases you could be better off running an older, fewer core CPU that has got higher clocks, because X-Plane is still single core bound, and I think Michael at X4's PC did a great comparison that anything over 4 cores is wasted on X-Plane. It just needs clock speed, so you could still be running 6-year-old hardware, and as long as it was a strong processor back then, your memory might be limiting, but it's the clock speed that's going to do it. And if you want to run at 4K, well, you know, stick that GPU in. And even now with certainly with Vulkan and Metal if you're on Mac, but I don't know much about that. You can see the GPU utilization. You can see it on the screen at the moment. You know, it's negligible. It really is. So the GPU is being a lot better used, taking a little bit of load off the CPU. But you're still not going to hit those frames. The biggest problem with X-Plane is the consistency, the lack of consistency of stable frames. I don't want to run the sim at 40 FPS, but I have to, because otherwise in some areas it will drop down to 25. So it's all good fun. I mean, it's not, it's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating sometimes. But we call it fun. Yeah, and like I saw in this, you know, like these dips, it doesn't matter if I'm on OpenGL or Vulkan. Over the UK, the frames get murdered. And it's that lack of stability. Never used to have it, so maybe I'll do a reinstall at some point. But I remember how much grief that was last time I did it, because there's so much to configure. Anyway, just moaning now. Okay, 15:45. I'm gonna put my phone on silent. There is our 4 mile, 10 mile, and our MSA fixed ring arc coming in from. Where are we coming in from? 270 is there. We are coming in from the southeast, so the MSA is 3.5, and we are going into the hold at 5, so we are above. There's a little bit of high ground out to the east of Belfast, and there we go. You can see that there, and I'm getting the MSAs from here, so you can see 270 are approaching from 290, in that sector there, and that's why they are reversed. The arrow's pointing towards the centre. Very important, respect those MSAs unless you want to go flying into cumulo granite. It's less than I do. Many of your virtual passengers and your real life pride are going to get killed in that instance, but certainly, you know, we are REMSI here, can you see a little bit of the ground. We are expecting an overcast, well, a broken layer at least. So be sure to respect those and only descend below MSA when you're either completely certain of your position and all the obstacles either side of track. What are the IFR rules? 5 miles? Got to be 1,000 feet above. But on the procedure, of course, as long as you respect the procedure, you will be safe. Even though you can see here it's still 4,000 on that arc until you get to that radial 082, at which point you can go down to 2.5. Anyway, I'm going to stop tearing on about that. We are picking up the ILS. Deer Alpha Golf 248, tuned, identified, so we can use that. You could of course break off, either do that arc or just go for a straight in, but let's do what we should do with no ATC, no radar. Belfast traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray passing, flight level 112 descending 5,000 feet to enter the Belfast hold, expecting ILS 25 Zulu.
1,000 to go.
Don't know where I am as well, but whatever. Big gash on VATSIM anyway. Don't think there's traffic about it either. Yeah, really person about. And if I hit up, there's 3 arrivals. Oh, there's an easy 500 and an easy 215 behind us. They're just passing over the Isle of Man now.
1,000 to go.
VNAV path, so we didn't capture. Oh, we're slowing down. So down to 5,000. QNH set. Why did we slow down so much? I know that actually, that was me screwing it up. Yes. Sorry, aeroplane. So let's get all the lights on. +9. It's going to start switches to continuous. Ooh. Something like that. Oh, now it's 10. They can go back. It's only going to get warmer. Belfast traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray passing, altitude 8,000 feet descending, 5,000 feet inbound Belfast hold, passing 1313 DME. Probably should have given a radial as well, 110 radial inbound. The weather does not match what we've been given. Give it a smidge of power just so we don't get too slow. No, so this is Active Sky XP, live weather, and the clouds are the performance clouds, which did actually make a difference, so they are quite good, but you can see they do start to hit the GPU once you're in them. So I've got the anti-aliasing up, so if you're on 4K you might not have that issue. But too much speed, too much throttle even. So 13 degrees, we don't need the anti-ice on. I actually have to go around the hold. Well, we'll go around the hold once, but if this is going to be a parallel entry out and round, I imagine the guys behind would direct entry, so they might have to do one. Active Sky itself I don't think hits too much, and actually you can potentially improve the frames with the performance clouds, so it's worth considering, and it injects the weather so much better.
1,000 to go.
So much better. And then when you're using SimBrief, it's going to make a big old difference to the conditions of the day. I'm just going to use a little bit of speed brake now. It's a little high energy. Belfast traffic run S7 Delta X-ray entering the Belfast hold, altitude 5,000 feet. There we are, we'll level off at that speed quite happily. Happy to fly around it in manoeuvre. There's the hold. Well, where are we going? Parallel it shall be. Now about 232. Haven't even worked out max drift. Yeah, so Active Sky does a similar thing, but it's still a lot better with wind interpolation, etc. Langford Lodge just out to our left. Martin Baker have a testing site there. Don't land at it. So we are on the safe side of the hold, which is good. 052, so 232. We are tracking. Really have started the stopwatch. India Alpha Golf still. So we'll go back round once. And we could just go back direct to the VOR and exit. Should do that just to not mess the guys behind us up too much. Let's go around the hold once. Don't care, they can wait. And then we will descend in the hold. I think the airplane's going to try and intercept, or it's going to go direct. No, good. Going direct turn, standard rate turn, and then direct back to the fix. Cool. I have no idea. How does Zibo do it? Bit bumpy. Belfast traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray. Outbound Belfast hold, descending, altitude 4,000 feet. Where are we going? Where are we speeding up? And where are we going? And hey, you know what, if these guys don't speak up on the radio, it is their funeral. Well, it could be everyone's funeral. Ah, why? Got an issue with the legs? No. Got an issue with the hold? No. Maybe it had a bug. Less speed 184, is it? Really? Always under the impression that minimum maneuver flap up was. But hey, what do I know? That. Okay, so hold, exit, armed, can descend. So procedure is max 185, so we are going to need at least flap 1. As we go inbound, we can start slowing down. And of course, this leg is a minute, this turn should be a minute, and that leg should be a minute, give or take depending on the wind. So 500 feet should get us descended by here, leaving us some time to start slowing down. So you do have to sort of think about those things. Do that now before I forget. Let's get all the lights on. A little bit of additional drag. There's our turn. I always find it strange, nothing to indicate standard rate. Nothing to indicate a rate 1 turn. Have to do the mental arithmetic to roughly work out the angle, although to be honest, how are you going to fly it to the nearest degree? So the hold has gone. We beacon outbound. What I do want to see is what the VNAV does. There's Langford Lodge again. Clearer now with lower. There is Aldergrove. So 054. Let's get flap 1. Ignore the glide slope for the moment, because of course that is the back course. Though I think they're disabled in the UK, so you shouldn't actually pick up any of that. So where was the procedure max? Oh, 210 actually, so we could have flown it a little bit quicker. Whatever. So we could have flown outbound, although going to be within 10 miles. Yes, so ideally you can do it, but you're descending as well. So we'll watch for VNAV. VNAV out. And gonna drop to 2.5. Belfast traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, beacon outbound, ILS, runway 25 at Zulu. Sketchy radio, but whatever. I keep telling these guys that are inbound, and if they choose not to...
Ortho traffic, easy 500 is just left line up the final runway 25 ILS, Ortho, thank you.
Well, I am beacon outbound, so good, get in your way.
Roger that, thank you, sir.
Probably slot in behind. Definitely would have been in the way if we'd flown this a bit quicker. Oh yes, the joys of Unicom. My RT has not been perfect, but at least I've been telling people where I am. So the trouble is, if people haven't got a clue what you're actually doing, they don't know what beacon outbound means. Okay, this is just going to work out from luck, but the second guy's probably going to get in the way, and the lower aeroplane has priority, but whatever. It's interesting, isn't it? People want to try and simulate reality, but not quite do the whole thing. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Okay, hold where throttles are at idle. Well, yeah, to be honest, I mean, they've done the direct arrival. Yeah, well, anyone can do that. It's not a challenge. Hey, don't forget, I mean, I'm letting the aeroplane fly itself.
Ortho traffic, easy 50 is now established on ILS runway 25.
I mean, I'm flying the procedure, so we'll see. I think the second one's going to be more of a problem. So anyway, as he goes past, probably go to flap 5. This will be fun. Belfast traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, turning final number 2, ILS 25. So procedures, so we have done, this is the procedural approach, so we have flown that teardrop outbound, which is this bit here, these guys have done the direct or the straight in. And of course you can do that, but once you're on the procedure, that person would have priority in reality. Especially without radar. So if you've got radar and air traffic, they can prioritise and vector people around to get them sorted. But if you're doing it procedurally, then everyone enters the hold and then you go out one by one, and I don't think you can start the approach until somebody's at least turned base. Might only be able to shoot them one at a time. I'm going to have to check that. But hey, I mean, I've been doing this using the sim as well. Oh yeah, exactly. If people don't know, they don't know. But hey, whatever. We're going to have 4 or 5 mile separation. So actually, it's worked out quite well. The guy behind has made some space. He's a bit low, but whatever. I would probably struggle to fly in an Airbus. Bad. VNAV path. Go. Was not monitoring. Should be. We're within 1 dot, so we're established. Belfast traffic run S7 Delta X-ray. Established ILS 25 number 2 10 DME. Yeah, I mean it worked out alright. I think a controller would be quite happy with that. Got a little bit of a dirty dive because I wasn't paying attention.
1,000 to go.
Oh, going to clear ourselves to land. Auto throttle's giving us a load of junk. We're on the approach. 3000's the mist. Localizer capture. Not leveled off. There we go, that speed will settle down. Traffic ahead now. He looks like he's getting a bit close. We are flying a bit quick. They take their time. If they take their sweet time vacating. So let's get out flap 50 just because they are slow. Speed brake armed or brake set. Holding on the landing flap, gear down 3 green. Start switch is continuous. We are landing after. Ooh, land after, that would be fun. That hasn't gone wrong before. It is daylight. We're responsible for our own clearance. That's going to be fun. Let's see if it works out. We're approaching full DME anyway and stable at that gate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were given a land after somewhere and that went wrong because they were flying horrifically slowly. Probably going to be pretty similar here. Wonder how early these guys configure.
1,000.
It's the locator, never mind. We're twice then. Hit 1,000 twice then. There's the white arc.
Approaching 2-5.
Three whites.
500.
Come on aeroplane. There's 1,000. Slightly unstable.
400.
Traffic 10 miles out for 25. EV500 is clear of runway 25.
The guys vacated, not clear.
Approaching minimums.
He didn't have to rush it. We'd have landed after quite happily. A little bit low.
Minimums.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Little bit of a bump. Oh, that was a massive smackdown. But then again, the runway does drop away otherwise. That all worked out quite nicely. Guy behind ended up a bit slow, but
80 knots.
manual braking.
3,000 feet remaining. Approaching 17.
It's a little bit quick for the turn, but whatever. Belfast traffic, Ryanair 7 Delta X-ray, runway vacated.
On runway 35.
So... do the rest of the cleanup in a minute.
Belfast traffic, 5 mile final for 25 Belfast.
So it's not a long taxi, we'll get the APU on. Quite nice to have some company for a change. So, not one of my best approaches, but hey, whatever. We made it. Anything else done the trim? So what was that landing rate? Oh, it said bounced? Ooh, 447. Oops. Okay, I better do some circuits before I go flying again. It probably wasn't that bad, to be fair. Probably wouldn't count as a, well, it certainly wouldn't count as a hard landing. Bit firm, but whatever. So I think okay, 2.5 here, we'll go 2.6. Say 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 and 2.5 alpha. Let's go stand 2.6. Like I said, that's when I got the APU on. Yep, I am reporting that one. It's fine diddly-ine. And even in reality, you know, the got accelerometers all over the place, but it's only if you report it as a hard landing that it's a hard landing. There we go, there's the other guy, that's cool. Blocked by the baggage cart. Should turn the taxi light off. Parked in the wrong spot as well. No matter. He's worried about taking off again. Anyway. So 2 blues, 1 red. Engine's dead. There we are, welcome to Belfast. I hope you've all got all of your teeth and no spinal injuries.
Belfast traffic, 25 vacated.
Can't promise anything, but... yeah, I don't think it was the end of the world. Anyway, we're just waiting for 20% into to get the beacon off, and then... doors open and everything else. Be nice if it did all this for you, but it don't, so whatever. I think even this has had a bit of work with scenery touch-ups. Don't remember seeing the green before. We've definitely been here before. Maybe I'll check it out and you'll be able to all prove me. So I suppose you would leave those on. Nothing else to do on the overhead. Punters out, so it was now 15 flight time, 26 blocks, 350, 370. Bring temps looking alright. .43 and 44 used. There we are. With a little bit of company as well. That's a cool shot. Oh, disappeared. I hope I got a screenshot there. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'm glad it didn't crash. I'm still frustrated at the frame dip, so I'm going to have to do some more digging. Hope it's not going to be got to do a Windows reinstall. That was painful enough last time. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and jump on as a subscriber. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks very much, and bye-bye for now.